Comments for the week ending October 30th from the Beef Farmers of Ontario. There were 336 head of fed steers and heifers sold through auction markets last week, down 208 head from the previous week. Fed steers averaged 300.45 per hundredweight, down 8.48 per hundred, and fed heifers averaged 306.19 per hundredweight, down $4 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported that fed steers and heifers sold due to the CME futures sell-off. In Ontario, dress sales were reported at $5.20 per hundredweight delivered, $10 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. For the week ending October 18th, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports to the U.S. were 2,822 head, 18% below last year, and 11% above the 5-year average. To date, Eastern fed cattle and cow exports were 1% lower than last year. Cull cow receipts sold through auction markets last week were 2,099 head, down 410 head from the previous week. Cows averaged 173.28 per hundredweight, down 7.36 per hundred. Beef cows averaged 177.37 per hundredweight, down 18.71 per hundred from the previous week's trade. Auction markets reported on Tuesday that fed cows sold steady. By Thursday, fed cows sold on a softer market. Total receipts were 12,801 head last week. Receipts of 8,404 stocker and feeder cattle sold through Ontario auction markets, up 1,443 head from the previous week. Auction markets reported on Friday, October 24th, that calves sold fully steady with Charolais bringing in premium. Yearlings also sold fully steady. By Thursday, stockers sold on an easier market. The Quebec electronic market last week sold at $5.18 to $5.19 per hundredweight dressed on a picked-up basis, up $5.50 per hundredweight from the previous week's trade. Last week, Alberta fed steers and heifers averaged $2.99 per hundredweight and $2.97 per hundredweight respectively, down $2 to $3 per hundred from the previous week. Fed prices have been softer for 5 consecutive weeks, putting prices right back around summer high levels. Dress sales were reported from $500 to $505 per hundredweight delivered, $3 to $5 per hundred lower than the previous week. Live sales were reported at $295.50 per hundredweight FOB the feedlot. Buying interest was noted from all Western Canadian packers, but competition on the cash market was mixed. Cattle that traded were being scheduled for delivery from the second half of November to mid-December. U.S. interest was also noted with light volumes of Western Canadian fed cattle marketed south. These cattle will be priced off the 5-area average. By Thursday, October 30th, light trade developed with dress sales reported from $4.95 to $500 per hundredweight delivered, steady to $5 per hundredweight lower than the previous week. For the week ending October 25th, Western Canadian fed processing was 39,090 head, 5% higher than last year. The U.S. cash cattle trade last week saw dress sales in Iowa and Nebraska from $3.55 to $3.60 per hundredweight, $5 to $12 per hundred lower than the previous week. Live sales were from $2.29 to $2.30 per hundredweight, $7 per hundredweight lower. Business in the southern feeding states took place on Friday with live sales ranging from $2.35 to $2.36 per hundredweight, $2 to $3 per hundred softer. Last week's cattle processing was estimated at 559,000 head. For the end of October, this is the second smallest slaughter volume on record. This is Jamie Kerr with the Beef Farmers of Ontario Market Information Report.